Welcome back to the Rookie Numbers Podcast. I'm your host, Bryson Shank, and alongside me are your co-hosts, Nathan Wilt, Trent Sunday, Peter Schaefer. This is episode 2. Let's get to it.
Hey, first off, guys, we want to really give a big thank you. It was about a year we were talking about this together as far as doing a podcast together, and seeing we got over 200 views in the first day was pretty cool. Lets us know that you guys are actually interested in seeing it, which means a lot to us, so we do appreciate that.
Yes, thank you guys. On this week's episode, we're going to be going over our all-star picks for this year. We decided to shorten the rosters a bit. We'll each go over our 5 starters and 5 bench players for each conference. We did choose not to include long-term injured players, so guys like Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, they will not be included. And the only other restriction will be by positions. Each lineup, both starters and bench, will include 2 guards and 3 forwards. Player positions were decided using the NBA's official All-Star voting website. So let's get to it. Nate, start us off with your 2 Eastern Conference guards.
My 2 guards are Donovan Mitchell and the most underrated player in the league, Jaylen Brown.
I like that. That's what I
That's also what I have actually.
I have to say, I have Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young, although
Yeah.
I could go Kyrie Irving over Trae Young and not have an issue with it. It was really hard for me to make that decision because Jaylen Brown, he's been having a great season, almost basically 27, 3, and 7, which is a very good season as a shooting guard, especially in an offense like Boston where you're, sharing the ball with
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. I mean, and you got other good role players in there as well. Um, I for sure could go Jaylen Brown over Trae Young, but as far as for having like point guard, shooting guard, that type of stuff, I do have Trae Young over.
I,
Oh,
I got a
why
problem with
Trae?
that.
Because for me personally, I know we're not going as far deep as our reserves and our snubs.
Mhm.
I don't know if I have Trae Young making the All-Star game this year.
I mean,
I think he's had his worst season by
Yeah.
far of his career.
One of the worst points per shot in the league.
His rookie season was arguably better than this. He is averaging what, 27, 29 points per game.
27,
27.
3.
He is shooting from the field and from three his worst percentages by far of his career.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to have it like point guard, shooting guard, and obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but Donovan Mitchell is a shooting guard, right?
He has run some
Yeah.
point for Cleveland.
Oh, really?
They use him as a point guard.
Okay, and
I mean,
actually, I'd
it's-
probably go Donovan Mitchell.
It's
and then
definitely not where he's most comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
if you have Donovan Mitchell, ideally you want him at the 2, but
And you do have Darius Garland, another guy who
Yeah.
yeah,
I wouldn't have him there. You could
The
make a
only
case for an
rem-
all-star starter.
you could.
Yeah.
You could.
the only remaining half of Sexland,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is always
Rest-
oh you love
rest in
you
peace
love
to
rest in
Sexland.
peace Sexland. Shout out Colin
The
Sexland.
land carried the sex a little bit, but all in all, it was a great
It
duo.
was a
It
great
was a
duo.
great duo.
I was sad to see it split up.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a big.
I mean, it's
Colin
working out for
Sexton fan
Cleveland.
as
They're
well.
pretty good.
That's true. It's not
They
like
don't
they
really-
lost anything.
I mean, Donovan
with that.
Mitchell, Colin Sexton.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty close comparison if you ask
They're
me. but I
right
think
next
it-
to each other on my board.
Oh yeah.
But back to Trae Young. I mean, like we're saying, one of his worst seasons. Terrible
So-
assist to turnover ratio too. He's turning the ball over 3.8 times a game. He has almost a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And not awful, not awful, but You all right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
like I said, I was going
You
for the
good?
point guard, shooting guard, something like that type of thing. But hearing you guys say Donovan Mitchell is run point guard almost makes me want to say Donovan Mitchell at point guard and Jaylen Brown is shooting guard because Jaylen Brown is really good. I really like him a lot. I think
most
he's
underrated
very
player in
good.
the league. Most underrated player in the league.
I would agree with that,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I mean, yeah. So I will switch that. I will agree with the majority here.
all right,
Yeah.
Peter, you want to give
As-
us your 3 Eastern Conference forwards then? We'll start with
Yeah.
John.
So I have Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Jason Tatum.
Okay. Now the big question for the All-Star game, I think, is, you have 4 forwards in the East: Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant. One of those guys has to sit the bench. Who is it? You have Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I also have Kevin Durant. I have Tatum, Giannis, and Embiid starting.
I also actually have Giannis and Embiid and Tatum as well.
I have Tatum on the bench.
You have Tatum.
It's an incredibly hard decision.
Mm,
I
I don't like that.
I want Tatum to be in the starting lineup. He deserves it. But Kevin Durant I mean, after the Nets, I wouldn't have done it if the Nets didn't win 11 straight. But they've won 11 straight.
That's true.
He's
That-
extremely efficient. He's having one of his better seasons in a long time. I mean, and he's playing with Kyrie. That's hard to do with how spotty he is, being there and being present in games. I don't know
If he is.
if he is
If
there.
he is there.
Yeah, but Jason Tatum 100% deserves the start, but I'm giving it to Kevin Durant.
Now, why not put Tatum over Embiid? Because I feel like for most people, at least for me, my two safe players were Tatum and Giannis. They were starting. My final decision was between Embiid and Durant for the fifth and final spot. Why Embiid over Tatum?
Normally, I would agree with you, but Embiid has been on such a tear recently that I feel like it's been a little overshadowed
It
by
has.
Luka's insane run. Shout out Luka.
Shout out Luka.
But Embiid, he's just been too good. The Sixers are too hot. It's the same reason I have KD in my starters. They've been too hot to not include him. If they didn't go on that run, I wouldn't have Embiid in there. But
Right.
they are on that run. He's the leading scorer in the league. It's just he's too dominant not to leave out.
And of course, I mean, I have Embiid in there. Last 10 games, almost 35 points a game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He's been pretty quietly good. Like you said, overshadowed by Luka's, last week where he dropped 30 or 50-point games
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
the span of 5 games. That's unheard of.
in a top 5 performance of all time.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
For-
60-point triple double. Yeah,
For me, my
Did he have 20 assists or 20 rebounds?
He had 21
Yeah.
rebounds
60, 21, and 10.
yeah.
That's
with
That's-
with an incredibly improbable comeback. Too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true. He
Which
had
may be more
it
impressive
was
than
the
the game.
one where he caught his own
Yeah.
rebound off of and you put it.
Yeah,
How does that happen? Like
Oh.
that's just insane.
he's just good.
He was very-
He's just good.
For me, the three forwards in the East, I know that was kind of the big storyline. Who would you leave out?
Mhm.
It really wasn't that hard of a decision for me. I kind of knew going in that Kevin Durant was the odd man out for me. I think Tatum is the best player on the best team in basketball right now,
Yeah.
and that's hard to argue with.
I mean, that's something we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
The Celtics are, I mean, I think we said unanimously the best team in
Oh,
the NBA.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It pains me.
that's a big reason why I have Tatum up there. Obviously, the stats don't look as pretty as, Embiid's 30 and 10, Giannis's 30 something and 12, I think.
Yeah,
But being the best player on the best team in basketball, I think that deserves
Yeah.
to start.
I mean,
off.
like I said, it was really hard to not put him in my starting lineup, but I just thought KD deserved it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think you can leave JoJo out.
Yeah.
Like he's arguably I would say he's the second best center in basketball, and he's the best center in the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least this year.
Absolutely.
So I think he has to, as the best player at his position in the conference, I feel like he deserves the spot.
Mhm. So we'll stick with the Eastern Conference. We'll move on to our bench. Now, typically in the All-Star game, the bench will have 7 players, and also some reserves in case of any injuries. We just went through our 5. We did 2 guards, 3 forwards for the bench. Nate, we'll go back to you. Give us your 2 guards for the East.
My 2 guards are James Harden and DeMar DeRozan.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Trent, we'll go around and we'll discuss.
Okay. I had James Harden,
Okay.
wild card, LaMelo Ball.
All right. Like I said, now we weren't going this far down into our reserves and our snubs. James Harden was a guy for me that I don't know if he makes the All-Star game. It's there's a lot of good guards out east right now, and right now on my bench I have Kyrie Irving and Tyrese Halliburton.
Like I said, I'm gonna move Trae Young down to my bench. And,
Okay.
I'm
You're
gonna
moving
go-
Jaylen Brown up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my bench here would be Kyrie Irving and Trae Young, as far as the guards.
So DeMar DeRozan, why? The Bulls suck right
The Bulls suck, but DeMar DeRozan doesn't.
now.
That's like the Bulls are bad, sure. I'm a Bulls fan. I know they're bad. But I watch more Bulls game than at least 99% of the population.
Probably more than 100 in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it has to be up there. I watch too much for my own mental health. But DeMar DeRozan is consistently. I mean, sure, he has some games where he's gets like 10 points, which is going to happen when your number one go-to thing is mid-range shots.
Yeah.
But most of the times, he's averaging at least getting like 20, 30 in some of those big games. I mean, recently, his stats have gone down because Levine has been on a tear. But DeMar has played nearly every game for a team that needs him every game as their leading scorer. It was too hard as a Bulls fan for me to leave him out. It was a biased pick. There's some guys who probably should deserve it over him, but I'm not leaving DeMar DeRozan out of the All-Star game this year.
Now, you guys both had James Harden too. Trent,
Yes.
I want to hear from you. Why James Harden?
Okay, as a Sixers fan, I see a lot of Sixers basketball. That's
Right.
kind of let's be honest, that's the majority of basketball I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
James Harden, especially compared to last year in
Mhm.
Philly, has played at a much higher level.
Mhm.
I think that when I was looking at when you're looking at who you're gonna vote for,
Mhm.
there's people that are you're looking at it and you're like, okay, I could see them getting in. I could see them being in that top 7 for the bench. James Harden for me was an automatic top 2.
Okay.
And that now, granted, bias. I watch mostly Sixers basketball,
Mhm.
so that's part of it. But if I had to get one more Sixer in there,
It's James Harden. Yeah.
I mean, I saw you put Halliburton in your starters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Harden's just been better than Halliburton this year. It's just the Pacers
part
aren't
of it-
good and the Sixers
part
are good.
The Pacers are good.
They're not good.
The Pacers are 2 games back from Philly right now. They're the 6th seed.
Yeah, but
Really surprised.
if you are putting money on it, you're not taking Pacers in any 7-game series in
Not
the West. They're
taking
not
Pacers in
good.
a 7-game series. But I think Tyrese Halliburton deserves an All-Star nod this year, and I think he makes it over James Harden.
He's in my reserves, sure, but
He's also played 15 more games too.
Sure.
That was a big factor in my decision. They do have similar stats. James Harden 22 points a game, 11 assists, and Tyrese Halliburton 21 points, 10 assists. Similar stat lines, similar records. I think my main 2 factors in my decision were shooting splits and games played. Halliburton's shooting much more efficiently this year, and plus the 15 more games played really did it for me. So,
I mean, it's just I can't not have James Harden there over Halliburton.
yeah.
Like I think Halliburton is, I don't know, Halliburton's been really good this season, but Harden has been some nights the primary scoring offense for Philly, and Philly's a contender this year. So I'm just gonna take James Harden over
And I
Halliburton.
mean, like Trent's bias, I do tend to bias towards young players a bit. I love my young guys, repping the Franz Wagner jersey today. It took a lot of me not to put him in there, but even though, let's be real, Franz Wagner
Yeah,
is not an
no,
all-star.
Should be.
Should be. And yes, I mean I do have Harden in my reserves, but I'm giving Halliburton the bench nod over him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would for sure. If we were doing reserves, I think I'd have Halliburton in there
Mhm.
for sure because I mean he has been really good.
Mhm.
I think him going to Indiana and leaving Sacramento, obviously that helped him a
Yeah.
lot. Like he looks much better now in the system he's playing in.
I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but that trade, the Tyrese Halliburton trade,
Mhm.
really looking like a win-win for both teams because Halliburton looks amazing.
Yeah.
The Pacers also got Buddy Hield too, an 18 points per game scorer.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the Kings got Domantas Sabonis, who, spoiler, is going to be in my All-Star picks this year.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, big surprise there. Peter, who'd you say your 2 guards were?
My 2 bench guards were Kyrie Irving and Trae Young.
Kyrie Irving. Now, you 2 did not have Kyrie, correct?
No.
No.
Why not?
Just too spotty. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't show up to every
And
game.
he missed so much with his suspension. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't
It's just
put him in there. And when I think NBA All-Star game, I think the NBA game I think is the most fun All-Star game
Well,
to watch.
whoa. If it's the most fun to watch, why isn't Kyrie in there?
Because
Kyrie's
I put
extremely entertaining.
and you're telling me LaMelo Ball isn't fun to watch?
But LaMelo Ball isn't on the same level as Kyrie.
It doesn't matter. I want to watch fun basketball, and I picked LaMelo Ball.
If I want
Melo Ball's
fun
played
ba-
13 games this season. You
Mhm.
know that, right?
I do know that.
For the
I do know that. I'm aware, and I'd still rather have him than Kyrie Irving.
and
wow.
Kyrie
That's terrible.
isn't in the All-Star game because why? Because
I
he's
don't
too
like him.
spotty.
You know why? I don't like it. I don't like it.
I was gonna bring up here over the
Like,
Nets.
these are my picks, and I'm not picking Kyrie Irving. That is not gonna happen.
Well, I was gonna bring up over, the Nets 11-game win streak, and I guess I'll direct this towards you because you had Kevin Durant starting, like you said,
Yeah.
mostly because of the lineup, because
Yeah.
the Nets won 11 straight. Taking a look at Kyrie's stats here, and I'll show you this as well. Kyrie's stats this season: 26.2
I
points
know.
per game, 5 rebounds,
I've
4.7
seen it.
assists.
26 games.
Over the last
26 games.
over the
26 games.
Then why is James Harden in? He's
Because
only
James
played
Harden-
20.
Because James Harden's better.
But James Harden's only played
Because
20.
James Harden's better.
Oh my.
If I'm choosing between James Harden and Kyrie Irving, I'm taking James Harden.
I would probably, yeah.
I would agree, but like,
Is it not valid? I'll tell you I have DeMar DeRozan over Kyrie because I think DeMar DeRozan's better, and I'm biased towards DeMar DeRozan contributes more to winning basketball than Kyrie Irving.
hence,
At this
hence the
point-
Bulls record.
Yeah, the Bulls suck. The Bulls suck. The reason they have so many wins is because of DeMar DeRozan. You can't win games if Nikola Vucevic is your center. It doesn't work.
It does
It does not work. You play Joel Embiid and you put Nikola Vucevic on there, you never win a game.
We're gonna move on to the Eastern Conference forwards on the bench. Peter, we'll start with you. Let me hear your 3 forwards on the bench.
wrong paper. I got Kevin Durant, Pascal Siakam, and Bam Adebayo.
I also have Durant, Siakam. I have Julius Randle in there over
Okay.
Bam.
All right.
I'll get to it after these two go, but
Yeah, I mean Julius Randle will probably be a reserve for me if we
Yeah.
have reserve.
he's
I
been
like
having
him.
he's been having a really solid
For
season,
sure,
which
for
we
sure.
did touch on last episode too.
That season. What season was that when they played the Hawks?
2020, 2021.
2020.
Yeah.
I think he's having his season even matches that
Yeah.
for me. I really like the improvement he showed between last season and this season.
Yeah.
Or you could even just say last
Now-
season was a down year.
It absolutely. Well, I was just going to get to that. Improvement in
Yeah.
air quotes, because let's be real, last year he sucked.
Yeah.
And now he's just back to where he should be. But
Yeah.
still, I think that's good enough to get him into the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I actually have Durant, Siakam, and Randall as well.
All right.
I have Tatum, Siakam, and my man Kristaps Porzingis.
I did consider Kristaps for a bit over Julius Randle. I just Wizards at
Yeah.
17,
The
21.
Wizards are bad, but he has a new beard and he has a new play style. And I like Kristaps more than I like Julius Randle. I like Kristaps, so he gets it.
Yeah, I mean, if DeMar DeRozan's making your team, winning basketball doesn't really
Oh no,
do
this
much
is
for the
clearly not.
All-Star anymore.
I just don't care.
Yeah. Now I guess we can move on to the Western Conference. Nate,
Yeah.
we'll start with your 2 guards for the Western
The
Conference.
starters?
Who you got?
I got Luka Doncic, and even if Curry was healthy, I still have Shea Gilgeorgis Alexander.
I agree. I think
That's mine too. Yeah.
I had them if Curry was healthy, I had Curry over.
Mhm.
But
I'm with Nate here. I had Luka and Shea even if Curry was healthy.
I
mean,
would agree
Curry
with that.
obviously great, but
Yep.
Shea's been
I'm in the same
very,
boat.
very
Yeah.
good
Yep.
this year.
Yeah.
Shea's #1 trade target if they look to trade him.
Which would be the worst decision
I think,
in
yeah.
Lakers history.
But it's the Thunder.
It is.
It is the Thunder.
It is
They've
the
done
Thunder.
this
They love
once
them.
before.
They love themselves some draft picks.
They've already lost 3 MVPs, so
Yeah.
Well,
Add another one to the list.
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
to you?
I will
Are
say
you saying? Are you
I'm
calling
if I'm
SGA future.
I'm saying
future
saying if he goes to a good team, there's a chance.
I'm saying if he goes to a team that starts to win basketball games, or the Thunder magically turn their season around, yes, he should be in the MVP conversation.
Lock it in. Lock it in right now. Big hot take. Shea will win an
Where's the
MVP.
Post-it notes?
Give us
Sticky
the-
notes.
They're not here. I forgot them.
Oh no!
Shea will win an MVP in the next 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Lock it in.
Wow.
It will happen. Lock it in.
I mean, no, you have guys like Luka, you still have Jokic, you still have Embiid, you still have Giannis.
Lock it in.
Tatum.
I don't hate that take, to be honest.
The
with you.
voters-
I do not hate that
Voters
take.
love voting in.
I don't know that I-
That's true.
I don't know if I agree with
Richard Steve Nash won too.
Yeah, Steve Nash won twice over O'Neal and Bryant and LeBron. Lee Rose won. Anything can happen.
That is true.
He's gonna win one, and it's gonna be
I-
shout out Derrick.
Shout out Derrick
Favorite
Rose.
player all time, Derrick Rose.
Love Derrick Rose.
I don't say that I agree with your take, but I could see it happening. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. Like,
He puts up the numbers.
he
It's just-
puts up the numbers. He really does. I mean,
He's fun to watch.
he is fun to watch.
It's just, does he beat out guys like Tatum, Giannis, and all those
Might-
guys? I mean,
You might.
that's the only part where I'm skeptical. But
And I
he
think
does put
he's-
up the numbers.
I think he has another level to his game too. I don't think he's at his peak yet.
Mhm.
Now I don't think guys like Luca are at their peak either. But I think Shea has another step
I mean,
to go.
statistically, they're not
Yeah,
getting much better, but
just
yeah,
in
there's
terms of how they
better
play.
basketball ahead of those guys.
Yeah.
Those are two guys under
No, I'm not-
25.
I'm not predicting that Luca's going to improve to like a 40, 15, and 15
Yeah.
season, but I'm just saying he can be better than he is now.
Right.
Yep.
So, Peter, we'll start with you for your Western Conference forwards.
I have LeBron, Zion, and Jokic.
That's what I have as well.
I also have that.
I have LeBron, Jokic, and Paul George.
Paul George. So Paul George over Zion. Why is that?
I think Paul George contributes more to the Clippers than Zion does to the Pelicans.
And I mean, obviously I have Zion in there, but I don't hate that take. I think the Pelicans are a more functional team.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a team.
They're more
Yeah.
well-rounded,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Paul George is number one guy for the Clippers on defense if Kawhi's out, which he often is.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on Prime Hoops too. The Pelicans have a really good, just overall team. Their team is
Yeah,
very
great.
well put
Pelicans
together.
are great.
Zion obviously great, but you still got guys like Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Dyson Daniel. Like those guys are contributing every night, which is why the Pelicans are so good.
Yeah.
I would personally not put the Pelicans' success solely on Zion. That's why he's not in my MVP conversation. But I still think his numbers are good enough to make him a starter in the All-Star game for sure.
I don't know. I just think Paul George edges him out slightly. Now, if AD was healthy, I'd have AD as
If
my
AD
starter.
was healthy, I think that should be unanimous. AD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree
Before he
with
got
that.
injured, he was
Yeah.
on a tear.
And I think the Giannis, or not Giannis, sorry, excuse me, Jokic and LeBron should also be locks. I feel like that shouldn't even be a question. Jokic is probably the MVP, and LeBron James is LeBron James.
Jokic should for sure be a lock. LeBron, you could probably make an argument for him not to be in the All-Star game,
Yeah,
just based off the Lakers' record and how
That's-
bad they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
but
Um,
he's
And,
38.
and you gotta
He's 38. He has the
Face-
greatest longevity of anyone of
Yeah.
all time.
face of the
NBA,
NBA.
He's putting up, well, like I said, I mean, the longevity, he puts up basically the same numbers every year.
Yeah.
And he, like, till the last, till like the end part of the seasons, I mean, they're always in it.
Mhm.
They always have a chance to make it. I mean, I guarantee if Anthony Davis can just stay healthy for like a month and a half, I guarantee you they'll make the play-in without
Yeah,
really a competition.
It's a low bar, but yes,
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah, for sure.
So on to the bench. Peter, we'll start with you we'll go for your two guards from the Western
Two guards. I
Conference
have
bench.
John Morant and Devin Booker.
John Morant, Devin Booker. I have John Morant as well. I have Damian Lillard over Devin Booker.
John Morant, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
I have Damian Lillard, Devin Booker.
Now, Peter, why do you have Devin Booker in there?
I mean, what the Suns are?
20 and 17.
What's their seed?
Seventh
right
seed
now?
in the
Seventh
West.
seed. I mean, it's hard for me, right? I think Devin Booker. I feel like he deserves to make the All-Star team. I mean, just because, like, not even just because of like this season, but like you think about it though, the Suns were nothing before they got Devin Booker. Devin Booker
No.
really helped them.
No, the Suns were nothing when they had Devin Booker for a few years. They were nothing until they got Chris Paul.
That's true.
I don't think Devin Booker's a winning basketball player.
No,
Is
I
this-
don't think.
Is that
Are
a
you
hot
making?
take?
Are you making? I would say yes. Are you making the like empty stats
And, I mean,
argument?
I know they made the finals, but
with Chris Paul?
with Chris Paul, I mean, they sucked.
They
really
were
sucked.
Here's what I'll say.
They lost to Luca.
They had that
They
year.
did lose to
They did
Luka.
have the year in the bubble.
Best
You know,
picture ever.
they won 8 straight games in the bubble.
Yeah.
Almost made the
But
playoffs.
he's tough when they.
Bro-
True.
Booker was really good during that
You
stretch.
know who was better in that stretch? T.J. Warren.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Here's what I'll say.
T.J.
Okay.
Warren was crazy.
Devin Booker is putting up 27, 6, and 5, basically.
Mhm.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, he's up there, with them type of stats, I feel like he at least has to be in my
Peter,
bench.
Peter, I'm
Sure,
with you.
that's-
I have
that's-
him in my guy.
That's pretty good, but Damian
He
Lillard's
still
putting up better
has-
stats.
He still has him in playoff position. Damian Lillard hasn't made the
He hasn't
playoffs for
been-
what, 2 years? Am I wrong?
I think so.
Damian Lillard hasn't made
He was
the
injured
playoffs
all.
in 2 years?
He was injured all of last season.
Okay, that's not my problem. I want Devin.
Has
Booker.
Devin, hey, has Devin Booker been injured? No, he has not.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're severely underestimating the fact that the NBA All-Star voting is a fan vote. So I'm going to. I mean, I know the reserves are.
And no matter who
What?
gets in, it's going to be wrong.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No
It's
matter
every
who
year.
wins, like
Yeah.
that year Caruso got the votes to a starter. They didn't let him play.
Shout out to Bald Eagle.
Now, Trent, you had Anthony Edwards starting.
Yes.
Why is that? Because
Because I don't know if you can sense a trend here. One of my reserve picks was going to be a young player who is fun to watch. Hence Anthony Edwards. He dunks a lot. He is good at basketball, and
he is
he's
good at
young.
basketball.
that's,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't hate that because when you're voting guys, when you have guys like Anthony Edwards, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker, I would probably classify them around the same tier.
Yeah,
Booker and Lillard are slightly better, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But Anthony Edwards, very young, is going to get up there. So when you have guys in that same tier, 24, 27 points per game, at that point, you're really just going off who you like more.
Yes, and
Yeah.
like if I was really just picking who I wanted to, obviously Timothy John McCollum Jr.
Yeah.
All-Star starter. But that's not. I tried to make it at least somewhat reasonable.
Right. And I think Anthony Edwards probably does make the game. I did have him as one of my reserves.
Like I think he's good. I think he's top in that 7.
Yes,
and
he made my 7. on the
And
bench.
realistically, I thought to myself, is how many people are going to have him in that 5? And you don't want everyone to have the same 5, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like him. I think he's a good basketball player. I think he gets in the 7 anyway.
Yeah.
I'll throw him on there.
All right, and then lastly for our Western Conference bench, 3 forwards. Nate, we'll go to you.
You guys, I don't think you guys are gonna like me after I say that. I got Zion.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Laurie Markkinen in there.
Oh, you best believe.
You and me both.
It's close. Close.
Good
I
old
got
Laurie.
Zion, I got Laurie Markkinen, and I got Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson?
Okay,
hold on.
Stats.
Why?
Look at Keldon Johnson's stats and tell me he doesn't deserve to be in the game.
The Spurs suck.
And he's the best player on the Spurs.
Devin Vassell is averaging 20 points per game.
Yeah, but he's not as good as Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson is extremely underrated. Keldon Johnson is one of my favorite young players, and he's routinely disrespected, like he is right now.
Keldon Johnson.
He's an all-star starter.
He was.
Not starter bench, I mean.
He
Not a
was-
starter.
He didn't even make my snubs.
That's because you don't know ball like I know ball. Keldon Johnson is off the bench.
No, Laurie Markkinen. He was in my reserves. I think. Did any of you two have him in there?
Yeah.
I had Markkinen on my
Yeah,
bench.
Markkinen.
Marking in, yeah.
I think
Shout out
Markkinen.
Markkinen.
He
Shut up,
probably is
Larry.
deserving of an
Bulls
all-star.
legend.
Legend.
He probably is deserving of an all-star spot this year. Jazz are still in the play, and they've, they started the season off super hot, but kind of
Yeah.
fell off a bit, which we all expected.
Yeah.
The Jazz were not going to stay the 1 seed forever.
Yeah.
But I still think, Markkinen probably does get in there.
Mhm.
I also have Paul George and Domantas Sabonis as well. Like I
Yeah,
said.
I was between Sabonis and Johnson.
Yeah.
But
I got-
Johnson wins out.
I got Paul George, Laurie Markkinen, and DeAndre Ayton. I don't know if you guys like
Okay.
that or not,
Really?
but
Okay.
DeAndre Ayton.
I don't hate that. I did
18
consider
and 10. He's averaging a triple-double, almost 2 assists, which isn't anything crazy, but I mean, he's on that Suns team, right? He's helping him out getting wins. I think he deserves a spot on the bench.
You said you did not have Sabonis, correct?
In my reserves, I got Sabonis, but not on my bench.
But you have Ayton over Sabonis this year.
Yes.
Why?
In the All-Star.
Because-
I mean,
You said 18 and 10. That's pretty good.
yeah.
Domantas Sabonis, 18, 12, and 6. Also leads the league in rebounds.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I did my homework on that guy.
You said
I
I'm
don't-
sorry.
I
was
may
familiar
have
with
not
the
seen
game.
that guy when I
Peter
was
said
going to
Peter-
vote.
Peter said Peter said what's the game.
All right, yeah.
I'm
Things are legit, too.
They're gonna
Yeah.
make.
I promise.
That victory beam is
Oh,
crazy.
I
energy
the
of the
religious-
I
arena
may
is
have not seen that guy. I may have not seen that guy when I was looking through because that sounds like pretty good stuff. That sounds
Pretty
like
good numbers.
You know
that
who else you
sounds
didn't
like
see?
I would choose him over Aiton.
You know what
but
else you didn't see? Kellen Johnson.
I wouldn't have voted for Keldon Johnson. I do not care.
That's because you don't know ball.
Also, I want to give an honorable mention to Jeremy Grant too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Strongly
been having
Yeah.
a strong
Yeah.
season. I did do my homework on that guy.
Jeremy Grant is kind of like one tier lower than Keldon
Right.
Johnson.
They're in the same tier.
No, they're not. Have you watched Kellen Johnson play? They mentioned
Watching Spurs games.
people who like Kellen Johnson and Jakob Podol.
Sean, I don't believe we got to you. Who do you have as your 3 forwards?
So I had Paul George. I had. Let me look. I forget already. I apologize.
This guy didn't.
This
do
has been a lot. There's been a lot of talking. There's a lot going on. Very hard to focus.
It's okay.
So I had-
you can change to
I
Kellen
had
Johnson.
I had Paul George, Laurie Markkinen, and then I was kind of between. Obviously, I think if Cat was healthy,
Right.
he's in that.
Uh,
He's in
yeah,
I don't have Cat in there.
I don't have.
Really?
I don't even
I
have
think
Cat in my
Cat
reserves.
sucks right now.
I don't think Cat's in my reserves.
There's
Really?
not a single Timberwolf that I think
Yeah.
deserves to make the
And
All-
that's
I mean, that's fair.
and you know me. I'm not voting on team success. I have Keldon Johnson and Mark Rosen as locks,
and you
and I
still don't have Cat.
and I still hate Cat.
I mean,
Worst-
I don't
one of
like
the worst,
Cat.
one of the worst defensive players in the
That
league.
is true. He does suck at.
He's
defense.
the definition of empty stats.
That's fair. It's the All Star.
He's like the fast food of the NBA world.
your third
So,
player.
so I'm between a couple guys. I think Sabonis, as you said, is there. I know Wiggins is.
Is this a live decision? You haven't made this decision.
This is a live
This is a
decision. This is a
live
live
decision.
He really did not
you-
do his
This
homework.
guy did not do
No,
that.
Johnson into your
So-
discussion.
No, I should not put Calvin Johnson into my discussion.
Doesn't know ball.
I mean, recently Christian Wood has played phenomenal. I don't think he
Oh,
played
yeah.
good enough overall. You could maybe make the argument reserve. I don't think he's on that in that.
He's up and down. I didn't consider him.
Like Christian Wood a lot though.
Mhm.
Great role.
Christian Wood is a great role player. but-
He's borderline star too. Like he's right, and he's in that weird Twilight Zone.
I wouldn't
between
call him a star.
player and star.
I wouldn't call him a star. He's not a role player though. He's much more of
Yeah.
a role player. But Trent, you are on the clock.
I will- you know what? You know what?
Shot
Brett?
clock's coming down.
I will take. I've heard your arguments, and
You want
I'll
the
bump
Sabonis?
Sabonis up there. That's
I
a
respect
valid
that.
take.
That's a great pick. Yeah.
There we go.
She was breaking on me.
Well,
That chair knows ball.
sure knows ball. All right. Well, we will wrap it up here. Thank you guys for watching again, and we will be back next week.